everyone, and welcome back. This is another Design Cuts weekly live session, and I'm thrilled to welcome back our good friend and the uber talented Claudia Riveros. How are you, Claudia?
Super excited about today. Today's going to be really fun. So in today's session, we're going to go through the intro of observational drawing. Now, this session came to be because I'm actually working in collaboration with Design Cuts to create a more in-depth course with around 17 videos where I'm going to be sharing all of the things that I did when I started, I would say, taking drawing a little bit more seriously. But I kind of wanted to give you guys a little taste on them, hear what you have to say and things, and then we can include this into the course also. So another thing that I wanted to share is that when I started doing the course, I wanted you guys to feel basically the same way that I felt when I started with my course. This all actually started because a friend of mine, she was going to an illustration school, and she invited me to her house every Thursday afternoon, and she would teach me all of the things that the teachers taught her. So that's how I got into it. But it would be really graphite and dirty and charcoal, and like I really wanted that feeling. So all of the brushes that I was using, although they were great brushes, they didn't give me this like so much realistic pencil feeling. So having that in mind, I actually created a new set of brushes for you guys, and it's live now, and it's 50% off as for now for this time. I wanted to
Incredible. And we've linked that up below this live stream, so it feels like pencil for Procreate. It's the shiny green button.
This one. Yeah, I wanted, it's a set of 23 brushes, and I wanted to quickly go through them so you can see more or less how they work. You have a wide variety of pencils. My first one that I'm going to show is this quick gesture brush. This is basically a brush that I use to make like quick lines, sketches. So I really wanted something that felt like light, flowy, kind of like this. You also have, for instance, the raw pencil. It feels a little bit more like a 2B pencil. So I like usually to make my sketches with the gesture and then maybe refine them a little bit more with the raw. You also have, for instance, a 6B if you're more into, chunkier, dirtier brushes. You also have mechanical pencils, so you have like a really wide variety for details and things like that. The cool thing about this set is also that it comes with a group of filler brushes, which the other thing that I noticed with other pencil brush sets is that usually you have a brush like this that really feels like pencil, but then when you're going to add shadows, you have to go like kind of like this, like you would in real life, which is pretty cool. But I wanted to use the magic of digital drawing. So then I created like filler brushes that allow you to go from really dark to very, very light and delicate. So you can add depth to your drawings, or for instance, this one, which is one of my favorite ones. And I like them because they have like this, you can really feel like these things like a little bit dirtier, kind of like when you add shadow with pencil, this like dust that comes out, that I think adds like some magic to it. You also have some brushes to add, I don't know, like some mild details or even shadow, like this crosshatch brush. It's also pressure sensitive and layerable. So if I make a few lines on top, then it can really change in value. And a cool thing also with this brush set is that it comes with 2 smudge brushes. The first one is this uniform smudge, which really feels so much like you're putting your finger into the screen, which I really like. Or you have a little bit more textured. So I like doing this one for a little bit dirtier sketches.
Oh,
so
I like that.
Yeah, this one's pretty cool. I like this one as well.
And I'm such a sucker for cross-hatching, by the way, Claudia. Like when I used to draw all the time, I would always cross-hatch with a pencil or a biro and just build up really intricate drawings just through cross-hatching.
Yeah, that's also a great exercise to learn how to shade, because you have to really make sure to see where the light is, where the shadow is. Mm-hmm. So I also really like it. With this brush set, you also get a neater eraser, which is this eraser that can be very, very light like this, or you can just erase everything. So it's a very versatile set of brushes. I made, for instance, all of these faces with them.
Wow, that's so cool.
So you can really see like the variety of the pencil strokes, kind of. Or I also wanted to try to do a lettering piece, so I also created this one so that it feels
that's unbelievably good.
Thank you. I wanted to show that they're like very, very, it's just like having a pencil in your hand, you know, you can draw whatever you want, but it just feels so much like pencil. I'm very proud of this ones. They were tested by my friends. I was drawing with them for a long time to make sure that they really felt like I wanted to. So yeah, this is the new brushes that I'll be using for this live session today. So
Incredible.
with that in mind, I can already jump into the tips. I wanted to share with you guys an illustration I did in 2012 with an inker brush. I think it's a good illustration, but at this point I was just drawing out of feeling, and I didn't really understand anatomy so much, so I wasn't super happy with my illustrations. I was feeling a little bit frustrated with the level of skill that I had. So this is when my friend taught me some of the things that we're going to be doing today. And I already started applying them in this illustration, also from 2012. You can see that the hand already looks more like a hand. In this one, I wasn't drawing any hands because I was afraid of them. But here, at least, you know, there's a hand. And using these tips, I got to, for instance, this illustration in 2021, also for the set. And the cool thing about these tips is that it doesn't really matter which style of illustration you want to do. It doesn't have to be realistic. But understanding how figure works really allows you to draw, you know, a little bit more magical things, or even more stylized things, because you understand.
The baby penguin.
Yeah, with the little maracas. But yeah, with these tips, you can really understand how the anatomy of your subject works. And by understanding that, you can really create more stylized illustrations. Or in my case, I'm interested more in creating more realistic pieces. So you can achieve things like this by keeping this in mind. So I kind of wanted to show you an evolution of my work. Now we can start. So my first tip is break things down into basic shapes, which is something that for all of you that have been in a live session with me before, you've probably heard me say like a million times, because it's I feel like the most important thing that I've learned, just to not focus on the details of the things. From a box, you can really go to a little bit more intricate piece. But if I would have just started by looking at the telephone booth, then you would feel a little bit overwhelmed by all the details, the lines, the things. If you try to break things down, then it becomes less daunting.
100%.
Yeah. So the first thing is try to find the shapes in your subject, the basic shapes. That's my first tip. Now, my second tip is measure the angles. So how to measure the angles? I decided to draw this pencil just to show you if you couldn't see me, but I'll kind of show you what I do here in the screen. I use this technique as I did for traditional drawing. I still do it for my digital drawings, and it really has helped me so much. I basically take my pencil and I close one eye and I try to measure an angle. Let's say I capture this angle, and then without moving my hand, I just move it to my screen and I make the line of the angle. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So I measure an angle, I move it down, and I make a line for the angle. So how does that look? Let's say that I have this pencil. If I wanted to start drawing this little dog, I would first start by, just a second, I'm gonna get gesture pencil. I'm gonna start by making just a circle. Another important thing that I feel like when I first started I was really afraid of is making a dirty sketch. I don't have to make a circle that's just a perfect circle from the first attempt, you know, like that's not so fun. You saw how I made this circle. I just started, put my pencil down, and I just made 1, 2, 3 until I kind of like it. So here I like it. Perfect. I made my circle. Now I'll take my pencil, just so you guys can see it in the screen. I will take it in real life like this, and I want to measure the space that there is from the forehead of the dog towards his snout. So I want to measure that line just to see where things are in relationship of the things that I already have. So I know I have the circle of the face. I want to find now the position of the nose. So taking my pencil, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to find this angle. It's around, let's say here. Perfect. So I have this angle, and now I'm just gonna go ahead and make my line for the angle. Okay, good. So now from here, again, from the forehead, I want to find the tip of the ear. So I just need to make, with my pencil, go ahead, close one eye and measure from this point towards the ear. Where would the ear be? Okay, here, perfect. I make a line here. Notice also my lines, I'm going like one line and I just go like this. It really doesn't matter. This is like the initial layer of your sketch, so it really doesn't have to be perfect. Now, let's say I want to find the line from the angle of the snout. You can see here, there's from the point I have, how does the snout look? Kind of like this. Okay, perfect. So I go ahead and I make my angle. And I would continue doing the same with my pencil, always measuring and passing the angle to kind of find just these lines. I'm not trying to do any detail. I don't care about any detail of this cute little guy. I'm just trying to find the angles of where things are.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of like
amazing.
This.
And obviously here we're tracing, but you would just do this by eye, looking at a subject,
exactly.
Using your pencil and that kind of thing.
It would, yeah, exactly. I will show a little bit later how it kind of looks without tracing it. But I wanted to, just because of time, I kind of wanted to show it like a bit fast. But if I would turn it off, you basically already have your dog just by using the angles, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know if there's any questions for now, but this would be my second tip: measure angles.
My question would be, where were you when I was at art school? Because I never learned this stuff as well as you're teaching me right now.
That's so sweet. I really wasn't in art school. I would just go to my friend's house after she would finish her art school, and she would teach me all of the things. But she was really
free art school.
Yeah, really intense.
For your friend.
Yeah. It was my private art school, and she really taught me basically everything that I still use today to keep on improving. Because of course we're all continuously improving, but these are things that I use on a daily basis to draw anything that I want to draw. So my first tip is find the basic shapes. The second is find the angles. Use your pencil to find the angles. It might seem like a little bit of a tedious process, but if you take the time to really learn these basics, then you're going to be able to draw, I don't know, really beautiful illustrations like Lisa Glantz does it. Even she shared that she was trying to draw a little bit more realistic things so that she would understand how like a small cute mouse would look, right? So then I feel like you really have to try and understand how things are in relation to how your subject works. And then from there, you can stylize it, or you can draw a realistic piece, but these are really tips that can help anyone who wants to draw anything. That's why I wanted to share them. So my next tip for today, because during the course, we're going to go like really way more in depth. But my next tip for today is look at the negative space of your illustration. So what does the negative space in your reference look like? If I wanted to draw this little dog, I would try to see, okay, first of all, what's the negative space? The negative space is the area in which your subject is not. So let's say here in this picture, the pink background would be my negative space. So if I were just to take the shapes in my negative space and pass them to the side, you can kind of already see where the doggy is, right? Mm-hmm. So this would be my third tip. So first one, we can go again and check them out if you want. First one, find the basic shapes. Second one, find the angles using your brush, your pencil.
And the angles and the proportions, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. The angles and the proportions, like where things are in proportion to other things, and the angles. And look at the negative space. So this will be my 3 tips that I'm going to be sharing today. Now, I wanted to show how it would look like if I wanted to put it all together. Let's say I have the reference of this cute little fluffy guy. If I wanted to draw him, when I first started, the first thing that I would have done is I would have made a grid on top of him, of my reference, right? So I would have taken a ruler out and I would just do a small grid. Now, this is not really a complicated grid. I just divided it in half, vertically and horizontally. And then each of these quadrants, I divided again into halves. So that's my basic grid. Now that you have the grid, I'm going to basically do this grid on the side. So I have the grid in reference to my reference image. Now, the first thing that I would like to do in order to draw this cat is to find where the head is in the grid. So I can see that the head of the cat in my reference is around in the second rectangle. Around the middle of it is the top of the head. And then on the rectangle that's underneath, it's around 1/4 of the rectangle. So just so that you can kind of see, I'm going to divide these two pieces into fourths, kind of like that. Now, by doing that, I can see that his face is right here, right? So having that in mind, I'm going to go into my grid, looking at it, and you're going to add your circle. Now, when you're drawing your circle here, another good thing to keep in mind, it's kind of like the same tip as how does the negative space look like. You can see here, this shape here should be similar to the shape inside your reference image here. So this one here, you see? So that's more or less how you can place the circle for the head of the cat. Now, if I were drawing this, and you could all see me in person and I could show you, I would do it with the pencil. But here I'm going to use my digital pencil to measure. I'm going to go and measure the ear of my cat. So I can see that the ear of the cat reaches around the first quarter. And using my pencil, I'm going to measure the angle from here. And I'm just going to pass it over here. Okay, so here should be around the first ear of my cat. Perfect. So now I'm going to go for the second ear of my cat. I'm going to go ahead using this angle, move it here. And I'm just going to move it to my drawing around here. And you have the second, like the angle for the second ear. Now, again, you keep measuring. I'm gonna try to do a live demo at the end so you can see really how my thought process is to this day when I'm drawing anything. Mm-hmm. Some people tell me like, wow, you draw so fast, but it's just that I have internalized these things so deeply that whenever I draw, this is how my brain works. So it's easier to capture things faster because you're just measuring, right?
Yeah.
So here, again, I have like this. I can measure around here. This is then my second ear for my cat. Perfect. Now, I want to find the chest of my cat. Since I have the head of the cat, I want to measure the angle that you can find from the head of the cat to where the chest is. So more or less this angle here and this angle here.
Claudia, you know something interesting? So
yeah,
when I see your sketch for the head, I know that you've just done it like anatomically perfectly, but to my eye, it looks slightly wrong, which means which means if I had have done it and I hadn't used this method and I did it by eye, what would have looked right to my eye would have been anatomically incorrect. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, completely. And the other thing that you touched on something that is very important also. I am not focused on it being perfect. I'm just capturing angles, right? So I can see from this, like just from looking that the ears, for instance, they're not so straight, right? The ears are a little bit more curvy. And I will address that a little bit later. But right now, I just want to see where things are. So I'm really trying to break down the process into the easiest, less daunting thing possible, right? So the thing I feel like when we start drawing is we see so many details and we want our drawing to be very detailed. And then we're like, oh, but actually, no, this ear should be like this. And then you spend like 5 hours on the ear, right? That happened to me so much. So right now, I'm just trying to see, okay, more or less, this is the angle that the ear should have in the future. Later on, I'm going to recheck, use my pencil and recheck and see that things are correct. But that's a really good point. It's
right now,
it's not perfect. Yeah, exactly. That's why it's fun.
Yeah, it's really cool, and it's reminding me we had some recent sessions that I've recorded with Stefan Kunz and Ian Barnard doing lettering, and they do this kind of thing, but for letters, right? So they're using basic shapes and simple grids and mapping it out. Yeah, same thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just so, even the thing that I like, the typography illustration I did, I'm not a typographer or a lettering artist by any means. I don't do letters ever, but just because I know how to measure things and like imagine things in perspective, and because I've tried to evolve my drawing techniques, then I am able to draw, I would say, a pretty good lettering piece. Not as good as a professional lettering artist for sure, because there's things that you can improve and learn, but these are tips that can help you in any style of drawing that you want to do, be it lettering, I don't know, like even, let's say, fruits for patterns, cute little illustrations like Lisa Glantz does, like a magical world, or more realistic stuff like I do, or even things like Jimbo does, right? He has to look at a flower and see, okay, how does this flower, has to understand how the flower, how the petals of the flower work in relationship to the center of the flower, so you can, in your brain, in the brain of the people that are watching your illustration, can see, oh, wait, that's a flower. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I really like these tips, and I think that they're very, they helped me a bunch. So that's why I wanted to share them.
Oh, this is gold. I wish I had this growing up.
That's so cool. But like what we're doing right now, then it's measuring from the head, the chest. We have this angle, and then around this angle. So I actually have, like, you can see them here, the two angles that I want. Now, having those two angles in mind, I know that the oval of the chest should go around here. So I go to my illustration, and I'm just thinking about the angle. The circle. I don't care about anything else. I just want to see where the chest is. Okay, more or less around here. You can also see in my drawing, it's like I showed you, right? It's like very, very loose, and I'm not trying it to be perfect. I'm just trying to capture what I'm seeing, because that's the thing, right? We have to learn to break things down to really see our subject and not be blinded by all of the details and the cuteness and the floofiness, because the floofiness is it's when you can't draw. The floofiness is very distracting. From the chest, I can also measure the angle towards the back of the cat, and I can see that there's like a big oval. I can measure this angle here, and then this angle here. And from that, I can see, okay, so here's the oval of my cat, right? So with that in mind, I go back to my, I go back to my illustration, and I make my body. And this is just like a quick preview of how I would approach this drawing. Now, this guy is really, really cute, and it has a lot of details. So the next step I did is just basically, still using my pencil, I still measure where things are, and I wanted to be a little bit more detailed. So then you can see more or less where things are. But it all started from 3 circles, just 3 circles, like, well, 2 circles and an oval, actually. And from there, you can continue pushing and checking, measuring where things are, and you can find your little cat. So that's the sketch of the cat.
Amazing.
Basically.
And it starts to feel possible. When I see an outcome, I think, oh, I can't do that. But when you break it down into these stages, it's like, well, I can look inside a rectangle and see if something is halfway or to the edge. Like, I can make a basic circle.
Yeah. I wanted to show you guys a live demo, because this is something that I prepared, because I like this reference is a little bit more difficult. So I don't know if we have time, right?
Yeah, we have like 30 minutes.
Oh, perfect. Then I'm going to be able to do like a lot of demos then. Perfect. So I'm going to show you then, I want to show you how my brain thinks when I want to do a drawing.
This looks amazing. Because it's a good start.
Yeah. So for instance, I have this little cute little bunny, right? When I look at this picture, I usually almost always start with a head. So I can see here, this little guy has like his head. Wait, let me just open here. And I'm gonna use the gesture. This little guy has like a little bit of an oval shaped head. So kind of like this. Okay. So I would look at my reference and I would start by just making my oval. Perfect. Now, from the cheek, I can see here, it has like a little bit of a circle here. So I would go here and I would make my circle. It has another cheek here. So I would go ahead and I would make. Now I want to measure the point from here to the ear. So it's around, you can see me now doing it. Like I'm going to take this angle and I'm going to pass it to the side. From this point is a line kind of like that. It doesn't really matter this thing. Perfect. Now, okay, so from the other side now of the head, I want to see where does the first ear end. So around this line. Again, I'm going to take my pencil. I'm going to measure it from the other side of the head. So it's kind of like this line, kind of like here. Perfect. So I know that at this point, the ear ends. Okay, now the angle of the ear. I'm going to go here, here, have here the first one, and then here. Oh, sorry, it's me moving my thing. Here, the second angle of the ear. So around here. Perfect. So I have my first ear. Now, in relation to my first ear, where is the second ear? I can see here that there's this angle here. So I'm going to go take my pencil, I'm going to pass it to the side, and I'm going to just make my line here. Also, you can see that the lines are very wiggly because I'm grabbing my pencil like this. So I'm making lines like very loose and soft. It doesn't have to look clean at all. Like the idea is that it looks dirty at the beginning stages. So now I want to see the second ear is around here. Perfect. So I would just go ahead and do this angle. Then the other angle here, this one down here. Okay. Now that I have the second ear here, I'm going to see where his back is. So I can see that angle here. Perfect. I move here and I just do my line. Awesome. Here we go. Now here I can see there's a big circle sort of shape here. I want to see where this point is. So I'm going to measure it against the head just to find where that point, like the highest point of the back is kind of here. So I measure it from the head to here. Okay, perfect. So now from here, I'll draw my circle. Here I have my circle. Actually, it's a little bit of a bigger circle. Here I can see that the angle from the forehead to the end of the circle is like this. So I'm going to go ahead and correct that. Should be bigger, way bigger, as you can see. So I'll just delete this and I'll go ahead and make my circle a little bit bigger. My chubby little man here. Okay. Perfect. I have this point. Now from this point, I'll measure, I'll measure where this angle is kind of. So it's kind of like here. And I can see another circle here, an oval shape kind of. Here we go. Little circle here, little circle here. I can see that the paw touches the circle of the body. So I'll just do that like this. The angle that there is from the paw there to the front paw is here. Now I can say, for instance, from the ear, where is the paw? So I have like an angle like here. From the ear, where's the paw? Perfect. So around here. I know that the paw is around here. And from the ear, where's the other side of the paw? So you can see I'm building like just a bunch of relations between the things that I have and the things that I want to build. It looks like a little bit of a mess right now, but you're going to see when I clean it up, it's so this angle around here. This is the beginning, the front part of the paw. Also here, this angle here. I'm going to go ahead and do it here. Perfect. Now from this paw to the other paw, from this paw to the other paw, from the chest here to this small paw, from chest to this small paw. Now I can see here there's a little circle, angles here and here. I'll go ahead and go here and around here. Now I'm going to correct here my drawing because I can see that this first paw is a little bit too far in comparison to this one. I can see here that this negative space looks like this and mine looks like this, right?
Cool.
So I have to fix that. Yeah, so my negative space should look like this. Perfect. So then probably, since I'm doing it really fast, my angle here wasn't super correct. We can retake it here. Yeah, you see, it was off here. So then the whole paw should be a little bit more to the front. So it should be here on this negative area. That's my dog yawning, by the way. Same now that.
I thought that was a door creaking.
Yeah, no, that was my dog yawning at ultrasonic sound. I can see here now the paw here is a little bit too far because I changed the position of here. So I can also see the negative space here. I can see that here it should look kind of like this. So all of this thing is wrong, and that's fine. Like, we're just quickly capturing a drawing, so it really doesn't matter. So I know that here should be my little paw. Okay. Right now, I'm happy with how this is look for now. So I'm just going to lower the opacity of this, make a new layer, and I'm going to change my pencil. Now, I'm going to actually try and erase the lines in my reference so that I can see my reference again better. We have here a little guy. So now let's say I want to find his face. Now that I know that the overall shape of the face is this oval, right? I can find now the shapes within this oval. It's this little thing here, like a little diamond thing. The first cheek, the second cheek, like here. And here's the nose. Perfect. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just do my little diamond. So you see, I'm having fun. It's like a fun drawing, but at the same time, I'm trying to, you know what I mean? I'm really trying to take time to understand, oh, okay, this circle was too small. I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. The angle here should be like this. Oh, okay, so here, you know? So it's like an active thing. Like, I'm just trying to study how the shapes behave in relationship to each other. So I know that the nose should be around here. Perfect. Here's his little mouth. And then here. Okay. Now the eye is around here. And the other eye you can barely see. Okay.
It's got really chubby looking cheeks.
Yeah, very chubby guy. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the ears a little bit more. Has a little bit of a fluff. Here we go. Okay, a little bit cleaner. Of course, if I would have a lot of time, I mean, not a lot of time, but if we wouldn't be on a live session, I would take up even more time to really study how everything works on him, to really understand how to draw a bunny, right? So here I can see that there's an angle here. Even though it's a big chubby circle, there's an angle here that cuts it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this angle around here. So I'm gonna just break this down to softer like this. And I'm gonna continue cleaning it up and clean it up. Like I said, you start with a big block of clay and then you slowly start cleaning it up and cleaning it up. You can see here there's this shape here. I can see there's like a little bit of a shadow here. That's gonna also help me with this. Perfect. So from here, the negative space here should look kind of like this. So my circle is a bit too down. So I'm gonna fix that again, like around here. Like this, perfect. So here we go. This little ball behind has like a little wiggly thing here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do his wiggly thing in my drawing. Kind of like, okay, perfect. There's some chubby here. It's a really chubby guy. Little over here. Oh, perfect. Okay. I'm gonna do his glasses now. So let's say, just gonna turn off the other sketch. So now it's a little bit of a cleaner drawing. I'm actually gonna even erase here some of these lines so it doesn't look so chubby. Kind of like this. Here we go. Perfect. So now just like before. You can even notice, like, I didn't even start by drawing the glasses because the glasses are a detail. I don't care about details right now. All I want is to try and capture kind of what he looks like, right? It doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm just trying to really observe. Now that I have more or less the body done, I'm going to go ahead and measure from the first ear the angle where the glasses should end. So it's around here. Okay, perfect. Now from the same point, I can measure where the first lens should end. So it should be like around this line. So I'll go ahead and draw this line. Okay. So now I just have to find the placement of this part. I can see that it's around the chin. You see, like from the chin, it's around this angle. So from the chin, I'm gonna go ahead and make this line. Perfect. I'm also gonna go ahead and draw then the top part of his glasses. I can see that the negative shape from the eye is like a small triangle, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and use that small triangle to know, okay, my curved line should be at around here, and it should be from, okay, so this is the bottom of the glass. I'm gonna go ahead and use this line to make the curve of the glasses around here. Perfect. Now with these 3 points, I can already be like, okay, the top of the glass is here, the bottom of the glass is here. The first lens goes from the first ear to here. So it's around this. Perfect. So we have the first part of the glass. Now, using the same measurement, if you want, from the same ear, you can go ahead and measure where does the second part of the glass come. So I'm going to go ahead and measure it. Perfect. And now where does it end? So from here, I'm going to use my pencil thing here to capture it and pass it to here. So here, perfect. And now from the chin, where do they end? It's a little bit of a different angle. So from the chin, around here, perfect. So my second lens is around here. Like I said, if I would have a lot of time, I would probably correct and correct and correct and correct. It's not supposed to be perfect just yet. I'm trying to like feel free to just have fun with my drawing and try to understand, find where my mistakes are, where things are not looking like my reference. And yeah, just slowly.
It's very impressive though. Like when I first looked at this, I was thinking, this looks deceptively difficult to draw because you've got this fluffy body with maybe not the cleanest lines to visualize. It's not a high contrast against the background. The glasses are like covering some of the form up, so it's not that easy.
It's not the best reference, but I just couldn't pass on to it. Like, look at him. I just couldn't. But yeah, I agree with you. So again, from here, from the top part of the glass, I want to measure the angle towards his head. So, okay, here we go. Perfect. And now the second one is around the same, a little bit more towards the inside. So around here. Perfect. And now I can see here also this other glass. You can also use the negative space thing because you can see his cheek should be here. There's like a triangle here. So my angle for my glasses is slightly off. I'm going to go ahead and correct that. It's like should be around here actually. Let's delete this. And now his eye should be also a little bit more up to create this triangle that I'm just saying. So here we go. Here should be the other one, and the second angle goes around here. So here we have the beginning of how the glasses will end up looking. So now from this point, I'm gonna go ahead and delete again the lines on the guy. I'm gonna go ahead again and lower the opacity, and I'm gonna still use the raw pencil. And from here, I can already start carving out like more details because I already know where things are. So I know he's really fluffy. I'm just going to go ahead and make some lines here. His little eye should be around here. Fluffy nose. He has like a little bit of a shape here. Perfect. His forehead. See, I'm going like very fast. So it's not supposed to be perfect by any means. Okay, how does his eye look now that I have the position? And I do the same with the details. This is another thing that's important. So I can see here there's this angle, and this circle, right? So I do the same. It might look like, oh, she's just, taking from the sketch to the finished details, but in my brain, I'm still thinking about like how those things look in relationship to, oh, here we go. Actually, his pupil doesn't reach, you can see here that it doesn't reach the end, and I had it to the end, so I'm going to go ahead and fix that. So I'm going to make the shine, and it doesn't reach the end, it gets to about here. And I'm going to add a little bit of shadow to his little eye. Perfect. So his ears are kind of like here, and then there's some hair here. It's actually not so pointy. It's kind of like a little bit more rounded. And then there's this slight angle. And let's just make it a little bit darker. So here we go. Now the second ear. I'm going to recheck the angle of the ears, like here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pass it around here. You can see it's not the same line. Just a second. Here we go, and around here. So it's a bit too high, the second ear. I'm going to go ahead and correct that. Floof, 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 floof. A little bit of shadow here. So this is basically what I would go through for any time that I feel like drawing and practicing consciously how to improve my drawings or how to learn how to draw different things. I basically go through to this process. You can see here that his goes like this. You're still here with me, right?
I am, yeah. I was about to say I'm loving this process.
Nice. Still on the process, but I'll be sharing in Circle how it's evolving and how it's going. So it's still going to be a little bit of time, but this is more or less an intro to what the course is going to be like. And during the whole course, I'll be using these brushes that I showed today, because yeah, they just feel so much like the first thing that I used when I started. When I did all of this to learn how to see properly and where, measure and all of that. So that's another thing. Another quick thing before I move on. I was showing, I started adding a little bit of shadows, right? And I often get the question, like, how do you know where to put shadows? And my answer is find the shapes in the shadows. It's the same as finding the shape in the background. You can see here, he has like a little bit of sort of here is where the shadow is. So I'm going to put the shadows around the same spot, kind of like that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I've never seen that technique actually, but that makes a ton of sense. And also, I'm really sad we have about 2 minutes, Claudia, just to let you know.
Yeah, it's gonna be done right now, because like I said, it's just like a measure sketch. I'm just gonna go ahead, like the little glasses. You can kind of see that it's already starting to look like the reference, right? But of course, it would have to take a little bit longer time. But you could see, like, I always get the comment like, "Oh, you draw so fast! Like, how did?" But it's basically because I've been I've been doing this for a really long time, like trying to really see and measure and stuff. So then I usually, even without really thinking about it, I'm just measuring and measuring. So more or less, if I turn off this, then you can see I'm going to just delete his little line here.
I really like your drawing style, actually.
Thank you.
I think it's like this perfect mix where it's not photorealistic, but at the same time it's really anatomically correct, but it has like a charm and a character to it, and great line art.
Yeah, that's what
subtle shading. Yeah.
That's what I find interesting also, because I mean, photorealism is really cool and really difficult and everything, but for me it's like you can take a picture, of course, like it takes so many years to achieve and all of it, but I still kind of want people to see, oh, that's a drawing, that's super cool, so I'm always trying to have it like be realistic, but it doesn't have to be exactly like it. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to see. Before I actually let this drawing go, I can see a mistake here. So I can see that the negative space here from the ear to the back looks like this, and you can see how mine looks. You see how it's wrong? So then I'm actually going to go ahead and fix that. And then for today, this would be my little sketch. His back should be around here. So I'm going to delete the
see, that adds so much. Yeah.
And there we go. That's, I mean,
incredible.
Also, like you can see, of course, I didn't have much time, but you can see here. So it's an ongoing process. You can see here, his little should have gone around here, because the floof here in the chest goes to around here in the glasses. So I'll go ahead and fix that. So you keep on fixing and fixing and looking and fixing, and yeah. So that's how my drawing process goes when I'm trying to learn how to draw something.
I'm going to stop sharing at that point, but Claudia, I just want to say the biggest thank you. I think that's honestly one of the most informative and educational sessions we've had. Like, I personally learned so much that I want to pull through to my own drawing. And I feel like you packed a whole semester worth of art college into 1 hour somehow. It was amazing. So let's give it up for Claudia in the chat, but incredible session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Claudia, we can't wait to welcome you back soon. Thank you.
For sure. I'm also super excited to be back. Thank you for having me. It was really fun.
It was amazing. Take care. Thank you.
Bye.